Martin, driver of the number 24 Exalta Chevrolet. And Jeff, coming into Watkins Glen, you have 4 wins here at this particular track. Just talk a little bit about, memories you have here at Watkins Glen and then really the goals of the weekend.
Yeah, it's a fun, challenging road course, a lot different than what we have out at Sonoma. You got to be really aggressive here. The car aerodynamically, the team has to really pay attention to that aspect. But as a driver, you have to be super aggressive in the braking zones. So it's fun. It's challenging. It's great when you get it right, and it's easy to get it wrong. But we've had some good success over the years, and we've had some weekends that didn't go so well. But the last time we were here, I was pretty encouraged with the speed that we had, even though we had an issue with the battery that prevented us from getting a good result. And so far this weekend with the practice we just had, I felt like the car has similar speed to what we had last year.
All right, we'll go ahead and take questions for Jeff. If you have one, please raise your hand and state your name and affiliation. We do have several, so we'll get in as many as we can. We're going to start up front with Holly, please.
Hi, Jeff. Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Last year coming into this race, a lot of our so-called really good road course drivers, such as yourself, had wins and had, berths in the chase secured already. This year, there are a whole lot of really good road course drivers, such as yourself and Tony and, even Casey and Clint that have won before, that don't have a win yet and don't have the security of the chase. Does that ratchet up the intensity at all this weekend at a road course like this? Yeah, slightly.
Because there are no guarantees. Unless you get that win. That win means so much. I feel like we're doing what we need to do from a point standing point of view, and it's important for us, if we can't win this race, to be really solid again in a good solid finish and good points to build that buffer that we need if we can't get the win. But our goal is to win. We feel like this is a great opportunity, but there are other guys that have a similar opportunity. I think Allmendinger, is certainly one that really stands out to me. But there are others, as you mentioned, and this is definitely one of the last, I would say, sort of wild cards. You think of restrictor plates and races in road courses as being a wild card of somebody that maybe you wouldn't necessarily expect, and not the drivers and the teams that are dominating on the mile and a half and some of the other tracks to be able to find their way into it.
All right, we're going to go to Kenny.
Kenny Bruce, NASCAR.com. Jeff, you're obviously the most successful road course racer out there today. Sunday's race will be your last, supposedly, road course start. What have those tracks like Sonoma and here, what have they meant to your career as you progressed? Yeah,
I think early on, I just remember wanting to take on every challenge as a team that we possibly could to improve, to be a bigger threat for the championship. Back then, you had to try to be good everywhere because every track mattered for the championship, and it was something that we really pursued heavily. I enjoyed it, even though I didn't grow up road racing a lot. I did enjoy it. We had a team and a car that was capable of being very competitive, and especially Ray back in those early days when the crew chiefs had more flexibility as to how you could find an edge over the competition. They worked hard on the transmissions and the braking and the setups, and gave me everything that I needed to go out and push the limits of the car and get a lot out of it, and we started excelling at them. And so I think when you look at the drivers and teams that outsiders look at in our sport of who's at the top of the list, I think if you can add a road course win to it, it separates you from the norm and put you into an elite group. And when I look at my road course wins and all the different tracks that I've won at, I think it just kind of adds to the stats of putting me into a unique category that I'm very proud of. No. I remember going to Sonoma the first time and turning the car over on its side in the tire wall. I felt like I was pretty lost. So the second year, I really felt a big progression. And then the third year, which I think is when I won my first road course race, I think in 95, is either 95, 96, everything just started to click. And we worked hard at it. There's no doubt we worked hard at it. And that hard work paid off.
All right, we're going to go to Rick and then Kyle.
Rick Bonnell, Charlotte Observer. Hey, Jeff, what you said a minute ago about how the scoring system has changed. What you said a minute ago I thought was interesting about versatility and how the system almost demanded upon you that you were at least a little bit good everywhere. How much has that changed, as far as the whole when you're in and versus you're still trying to deal with potential points issue? How much has that changed, the way that teams have to face their jobs week after week after week?
It seems like the intensity and what you're trying to accomplish is very much the same as far as how you're trying to win everywhere. You're trying to put together point, like in my position. I think because we run good on a lot of different tracks has gotten us into a good points position that we're in, or a solid one at least. And if we were weak at certain tracks, we might not be in the position that we're in. But there's no doubt once you get a win or two under your belt, you start thinking about the championship and what you have to do in those 10 races. And you can give up a lot of races. You can give up a lot of things. You can just go for broke and go all out and try new things and get super aggressive. And it doesn't mean a whole lot if you don't accomplish what you want to accomplish in that particular race if you have those other wins to back you up. And that's why I mean there's unique things and that are very positive for the sport on both sides. Back in when I won the championships, it was interesting to see who could accumulate that over the whole year. But it got boring towards the end of the year a lot of times. Not always, but a lot of times. So in the chase, with the chase and the new format, it's always intriguing because there's always a storyline. But what's fascinating to me is once that chase starts is to see what teams were experimenting and were really preparing themselves for the championship and how well they did and how much they step up to that next level of competition and competitiveness when it all starts. And I really enjoy that side of it too. I'm disappointed we haven't been able to excel at it, and I'm hoping that does come our way this year.
All right, go ahead, Kyle.
Kyle Magda, Race Chaser Online. Jeff, actually have a two-part. The first one's a follow-up to Kenny's question. You talked about struggling at Sonoma the first few years, and I know in 1993 you ran the Southwest Tour race the day before the Cup race. What were you able to take out of that to try to apply it and hopefully have a good day at Sonoma like you did in 1993? Try to have a good day that you did.
I can't remember if that was Ray Evernham forcing me to do that or if I wanted to do that. It seems like a Ray thing. Back then I was just trying to get as many laps. You go into a track completely blind. You can't. We didn't test at that track, and I don't even know if we could. I can't remember. I remember I went out to do the driving school out there to sort of learn the track, and then I guess I followed that up with the Southwest Tour race. That didn't go so well. It didn't teach me much other than getting some laps. That never hurts.
Yeah, and then the second question is, with all the success that you've had, I mean, what made you become so acclimated to these road courses? Was it having the open wheel background, or just like you said, getting the track time and the setups to make it better?
I mean, I went to enough driving schools to get a little bit of knowledge. Prior to coming to NASCAR, I was pursuing everything. And if somebody gave me an opportunity to get in a race car or to go to a driving school, then I was packing my helmet bag and heading that way. And I did it up at Mosport in Canada. I did it with Skip Barber, and I think after I started NASCAR, I did the one out in Sonoma, and I also did the one in Phoenix with Bob Bondurant. So, I've done a lot of those schools, and I drove a lot of different types of cars. I remember driving a Super V out at Indianapolis Raceway Park before I ever got into NASCAR. And I always liked, and I did some go-kart racing too. I didn't do any shifting, but I did some go-kart racing on road courses. I went to the IKF Nationals and finished fourth in 1980 or something in a go-kart. So it's not like I didn't have any road course experience whatsoever, but I never had it in a big car. But I enjoyed the challenge. It was fun to do something different than ovals. I feel like ovals were what I am best at and have been all the time, but I just was comfortable in going to a road course and doing something unique and different. And luckily, I drove for a team that knew how to put good race cars underneath me, not only on ovals but on road courses, and that made the learning curve come much easier for me.
All right, we're going to go to Brant and then back to Woody in the back.
Brant James, USA Today Sports. How much better and deeper is the road racing talent pool in the series since you arrived?
Well, there's two parts to that. One is the cars are all so much more equal because they're under the new rules that we've had for the last several years. The cars are almost built by NASCAR, in so many ways. They're just so limited as to what you can do to the cars. We used to have full-on specialized road course cars where they were completely dedicated to turning right more so than left, and we shifted the weight around, we shifted the bodies around, we did a lot of things. That's all gone now. We're basically racing cars that we would race on a short track that we race here, and they're not really designed for that, but we make do with it. And then you look, so the cars are very equal, which makes the drivers look much more equal. But then you do have a deeper field as well. It just seems like everybody over the years, where road course racing seemed to be brought into the sport, and it's been around for a long time, and I don't know, to me, always when I think of drivers that were really good, they did well on the road courses, but then you had this big drop off where drivers and teams just didn't really go after them and really struggled on them. But to me, about late 90s is when I saw everyone really putting a lot more focus and attention on them, and it started bringing the whole level of competition up higher. And by early 2001, it seemed like most of the field was good on the road course.
All right, we're going to take Woody, and then we're going to squeeze in our two final questions here in the back. Go ahead, Woody.
Woody Kane with MRN. Jeff, just want to get you to look ahead a little bit with the high drag package going back to Michigan after what we saw at Indianapolis. How you think that might play out, and if you think that track might be better suited to that package.
I think in some ways it's better suited, some ways it's not. It's better suited and it's wider, and there's more ability to find some clean air. The package is great if you're in a straight line. It offers some really cool drafting opportunities, and if you have some momentum that you carry off the corner, it's really cool. As soon as you get behind a car and you're needing downforce, it takes it all away. So, a big wide track like Michigan, as long as we can get away from the cars in the corners, I think that has the potential to create that big draft and momentum down the straightaways. Which is what we're all hoping for. We'll know more when we get there, but I can promise you, if you get in the corner behind somebody, it's going to be a white-knuckle experience. It was at Indy, so I know it's really going to be one at Michigan, so you're going to be really searching for clean air.
All right, go ahead.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for talking with us today. We're going to miss you out on the track.
Oh, thank you.
I wondered what you will remember most from racing here at the Glen, and then also, do you think there should be more road course races in the series?
Well, it is interesting how it seems like they've gotten so intense and exciting, and fans seem to really enjoy, and the media seem to really enjoy these races. And I credit that to double file restarts. The road courses were always pretty spread out, and you didn't see as much action on them when we had single file restarts. When they went to double file restarts and the more equalized cars, all of a sudden these races just became bumper cars and flying through the dirt and knocking one another out of the way and tempers flaring, and that's that brings a lot of entertainment value to it. I feel like I say this every weekend when I get asked about a track that I'm going to for the last time. I seem to remember the things that got away more than I think of the ones that were sitting in victory lane. I mean, those are great moments, and I'm proud of those. But I can't help but think of spinning out in the closing laps there, leading this race, going into one after I just watched Tony do the same thing about 25 laps before that. It was going to be a great battle between me and him, and I just went in there and lost it. So that one certainly stands out. I think I also ran out of gas on the last lap one time and got in Harvick's when he spun me out. So I remember those. But I also certainly have fond memories of coming here and just enjoying the challenges. And luckily, I feel very fortunate to have won 4 races here, because I've come here before and really struggled and just felt like I was completely lost. The year that I think I don't remember if it was the year Ella was being born or Leo. It must have been Leo. When I had Scott Pruitt standing in for me, and we were really struggling. And I remember talking to Scott about how loose the car was and hard to drive. And he went out there just to get a feel for it in case he had to get in for me. And he came in, his eyes were like this big, and he's like, I don't know how you're driving that car. And so that was not a fun weekend. And so when you have weekends like that, it makes you appreciate the good ones where you pull off the victory that much more.
All right, we'll take our final question. Go ahead.
Mario Sacco, WETM. Kind of along those lines, I know the obvious answer is you won 4 times here, but what makes coming to the Glen so special for you?
Well, one of the things that makes it so special is that me and my family vacation in New York, and so it's very close. It's a beautiful part of the country, and road course racing is a lot of fun. There's a great crowd here, tremendous crowd that has a good time here in Watkins Glen, and it's a track with tons of history that goes back a long way in NASCAR's history, but Formula One and all sorts of different types of road racing, and it's a real privilege to get a chance to race here.
All right, Jeff, we appreciate your time today, and we wish you the best of luck this weekend.
Appreciate it.